Okay, so where does this view come from biblically? Because I know we've talked before on other shows, and I feel like I've heard you mention the word dispensation actually appears in the Bible many times.
Mhm.
And so I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, and perhaps maybe how it differs from other views like covenant theology or replacement theology.
Yeah, so again, the term is definitely a biblical term, comes right out of Scripture, as we said, oikonomia, and it has come to refer to a method of understanding Scripture in its literal, grammatical, historical approach. And so, let me pull up another slide here that I
Yeah,
think will help distinguish between the two different views. So, the two primary ways of understanding Scripture, at least in conservative evangelical theology today, are a dispensational approach and what's called covenant theology. And the biggest difference is how they interpret Scripture. So, according to a dispensational understanding, we practice what's called literal, grammatical, historical interpretation. And that's a fancy way of just saying when we read the Bible, we understand it in the normal, plain sense that it was
yep,
intended to be understood. So, for example, literal interpretation means that the words and sentences of Scripture are understood the way all words are intended to be understood. You're not looking for some hidden, deeper meaning. It's not spiritualizing or allegorizing the text or reading between the lines or again looking for hidden mystical meanings. Literal interpretation certainly understands there's figures of speech. Every language on planet Earth uses figures of speech. It looks into a consideration the literary context. Obviously, say Psalms or Proverbs are a different literary genre than, say, the epistles of the New Testament or the historical narratives of the Old and New Testaments. And the same thing is true in English, by the way. A love letter
hmm,
from a husband to his wife is different from a want ad in the newspaper or
right.
that kind of a thing. So there's different genres. It considers the grammatical and historical context. Words are understood in the way they were used in their day.